Respect to our boy, the voice of the sleeper segment here, Bobby King Green, coming back from a USADA suspension, coming back from popping on PEDs. No, I'm just joking. I don't have the official information right here, but he did get popped for something, and he did have to get taken out of the rankings and all of that, but he's back. And as a typical Bobby Green performance, they don't match him up against anybody easy. They match him up against a man who just went blow for blow with Terrence McKinney, man. A dude who has a nasty left hook, looks like a male model out of the Abercrombie, but can also knock your block off, man. Drew Dober versus Bobby Green. So this is literally two veterans right here getting it. You have a little bit of a stature difference and a technique difference between these guys, right? Drew Dober, big, strong, come at you, smash you. Bobby Green, slickster, stay on the back foot, counter strike, win fights. This is an interesting one, man. How much do you put into the little bit of the layoff that Bobby Green had? Because he's a pretty active fighter normally. How much do you put into that?
Derek, he's such an active fighter. He had a 6-month suspension, and this is still his third fight of the year in 2022. Bobby Green is active as ever. I put a lot of stock into it, man. This dude couldn't train. He couldn't be around the sport. 6 months off for a guy like that at his age, who was admittedly not cheating, but taking supplements in order to help himself. He just wasn't. You got to read the box. You got to read what's on the ban list. At the end of the day, you're responsible for what you put in your body. He took it like a champ. He took it like on the chin. But it's still a pause for concern for Bobby Green, man. This is a worrisome fight, especially with how a younger on those drugs performing Bobby Green was when he fought a similar kind of fighter in Islam Makhachev. Now, is Islam a better pressure fighter than Drew Dober? Yeah. Is he a better wrestler? Yeah. Now, who has better striking? That's a good question. But Bobby Green is obviously the far superior striker in this one. Now, my question is, how is the chin of Drew Dober going to hold up? How is the mental game of Drew Dober going to hold up? Going against, like you said, man, had a hell of a fight against T-Rex Terrence McKinney in his last one. Got the or not in his last one, excuse me, in the second to last one, right? Mm-hmm. Before this, he had a KO against Rafael Alves. But this dude, man, like Drew Dober's a problem. Like you said, Derek, beautiful. Like he's one of the guys you see at the gym or at the club hitting on your girl. You're like, I'm gonna fuck this pretty boy up, and then you realize he can scrap too, and it's really rough, man. Drew Dober's a hell of a fight out there, really rough, and good shit for Bobby Green coming in and taking this one, man. What do you think?
I'll tell you this much, man. Because the question got lost in translation right there. What was the question? Just so I know what to answer.
Chin on Drew Dober, will it hold up?
Right.
Do you think it was tested enough? He got 2 KOs in his last one, though. And can Bobby Green be the fighter that's going to put him to sleep?
Do I think that Drew Dober's chin is going to hold up? Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, where's this dude getting knocked out? He hasn't even been knocked out in his last 5 fights or anything like that, right? Had the back and forth with McKinney where he got dropped early, if that's what you mean. But I do think that Terrence McKinney is also this car crash fighter who really puts it on you. Bobby Green, his knockouts are coming from slickster style, right? Look at the last knockout that Bobby Green got, man. That was the Al Iaquinta fight. And I'm not going to say that we can't put stock into that, but I mean, of all the guys, it's like Al Iaquinta, the dude who's no longer in the sport, the dude who had not been active in the sport when he got knocked out. That's all that I'm going to say there. Either way, I think Drew Dober's key to victory right here is not just stand and trade shots with Bobby Green for 3 rounds. I think it's to mix it up. It's to use his athleticism, and it's to try to grab a couple of those takedowns because Bobby Green, admittedly, 2-3 in his last 5 losses to, and tell me the common theme here, losses to Islam Makhachev, Thiago Moises, and Rafael Fiziev. So, like, if you had to talk about common theme between those, you have superior athletes, dudes who all can basically grapple at least a little bit. Fiziev is the one outlier there. And his 2 wins, Al Iaquinta, where he flashed him, and then Nasrat Haqparast, who has underwhelmed, been a little underwhelming in some of his performances as of late. You know what I mean? So, I love me some Bobby Green. I think this dude is the ultimate competitor in terms of being game. But I also think that is your downfall, man. For some fighters, you're a little too game for your own good. And when you're at an advanced age like a Bobby Green is that the best fight that you could be taking for your career right now, coming off of a 6-month suspension, saying, let me fight a dude who is on a 2-fight win streak, man, against 2 savages in Terrence McKinney and Rafael Alves. So with that being said, man, let's talk about the odds and see if that reflects our thought process accordingly, because it is a minus 165 favorite for Drew Dober at open. When we're looking at live odds, it looks like it's actually gone down a little bit, minus 155 plus 130 for Bobby Green, but pretty much in that same realm. Listen, man, look at the props. Dober is going to win, the odds makers think it's either going to be knockout or decision, but it's going to be really close between the two. They're really saying Bobby Green has one shot at winning this, and you have to edge out a decision. You have to make it technical, and you have to make it close. I just think past the victory, man. It all favors Drew Dober, so I'm going to go with Drew Dober decision right here. I'm not going to give a knockout because I respect my man Bobby Green too much, but I will go decision for Drew Dober. How are you seeing it?
I like it, Derek, and it makes a lot of sense. And folks, this is another big asterisk fight right here. If I'm putting money on this fight, I'm going Drew Dober. And again, just because I respect my boy Bobby Green, I'm going decision. I think Drew Dober can really put a pace on some people that makes it very hard to fight against. But since we're going with some gold on this one, since we got a battle between Derek and I right here, man, I'm going with the voice of the sleepers. I'm going with some people are calling it a conspiracy theory man nowadays. I'm going with King Bobby Green, and I'm going with decision as well. I think if you're going to put some money on Green, decision's the way to go. Decision's the way to go, excuse me. You got to get him on his bike. You got to keep him mobile, keep him away from your hips, and piece him up on the hands. Get the judges on your side, and let's see a Bobby Green victory. Like I said, Derek, Bobby Green, decision.
Okay, and the over and under on that one is 2.5, minus 175 for the over, plus 145 for the under. So the odds makers like it too. And with that being said, let's talk about the open.